Welcome to the first episode of 406 Records, Meet the Artist, appropriately with the artist that recorded the studio's first album, and really you are the reason that the studio even exists, Lance Handyside. So we did Six String Ride, but whole purpose of this interview is to learn more about you, Lance. So I guess we can start with how you got into music.
Man, I think how I got into music, pretty sure I just came out of the womb singing. I don't know how, some of the first memories I have are singing or being in the car, radio going, singing along. And, my mom actually has a funny story about, I had this little toy microphone when I was like 3, and I was 3 or 4 or something like that. And one of our favorite bands, like as a family, was Alabama. And the first concert I ever went to, I think I was like 3, was Alabama. And I'd take my little toy microphone and sit on the edge of the coffee table and sing every word of High Cotton, apparently. And don't ask me how I learned it. Just probably listened to it a million times. But yeah, man, music just always kind of been there. And my dad was big bluegrass guy. He played banjo, and mom pretty much loved a little bit of everything. Grew up on bluegrass, country, classic rock, southern rock. Yeah, it's just always kind of been there. I don't know. And sang in elementary school and choir, and actually started on mandolin. And we used to go to those 3-day camp out bluegrass festivals. And I was always kind of intrigued by mandolin because it was, other than the banjo, it was the one instrument, the other instrument that cut through everything. You could always hear the mandolin.
Yeah.
And so when I was 9 years old, I got a mandolin for Christmas.
You still play it at all?
I actually don't. My aunt has it. My aunt in Michigan has it, my Aunt Kate. And I told her if she's ever done with it to send it back to me. And that was like 10 years ago. So we'll see what happens, man. Maybe one of these days she'll be done with it and I'll get it back. But if I don't, that's all right too. But I still know D, C, and G, which are the 3 most important chords to know if you're playing bluegrass.
Cool, man. Did you, besides Alabama, who'd you like as a kid? Because I know I liked different stuff as a kid.
Oh, man. Alabama, I love Shenandoah. Shenandoah's, they're awesome. I actually got to meet them a couple of years ago and hang out with them for a few minutes, and it was like hanging out with 2 of my uncles. It was crazy. It was super cool. Diamond Rio, grew up with them. Brooks and Dunn. Of course, if you were a kid in the 90s, you grew up with Garth Brooks.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. Whether you liked country music or not, you knew pretty much every word to Friends in Low Places or Rodeo.
Rodeo for me.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, man, that was pretty much it as a kid. And then I got into what really changed the game for me was Skynyrd. I got into Lynyrd Skynyrd, and there's still, if I had to pick one band to listen to for the rest of my life, it'd be Lynyrd Skynyrd, because they can do it all, man. They can do rock, they can do country, they can do blues. You can sit and listen to, That Smell, and there's like 4 different guitar solos, 2 of them going on at the same time, and it's just organized chaos, and it's awesome. And then you can sit down and listen to, B-sides like Mr. Banker, where it's a dobro and vocals.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
No, I love that song. That's like, I forget what movie it is, but somebody gets mad about, somebody's making fun of the guy's favorite band. He says, Rush is variety. It's kind of like, Skynyrd is variety.
And I love Rush too, man.
Oh, I might pick them.
Oh, dude. But, Rush is great. I love Rush. But of course, you get a band like Rush, and there's different. Rush is almost like 4 different bands, because so many different periods and different musical paths that they took and things that they experimented with. Not to sound cliche or anything, but I love early Rush. Finding my way. Stuff like that. Great. I love Rush.
Man, I can't get into that because it's going to be a long topic, but I literally knew most of every album on bass.
I believe it.
The entire catalog. I got a little obsessive. But Skynyrd, no, I love them too. Love them.
Yeah. Well, and Charlie Daniels. Charlie Daniels was awesome. It was funny too, because as a kid, Charlie was known for being a fiddle player, or at least I knew him mostly for being a fiddle player. I had no idea he played guitar until I started playing guitar. And then, looking up guitar videos and stuff like that. And I'm like, whoa, Charlie plays guitar and he rips. And it's like, okay, now I got something else I got to study. And then as far as like more on the rock side of things, like, I got into AC/DC, I got into Metallica, I got into Iron Maiden, Guns N' Roses, all that stuff. And Slash is one of my, when it comes to playing lead, there's a lot of people out there that, say, oh, Slash is good, but there's like 50 other guys that are faster, or they're more technical, or they're this, whatever. I don't care. Nobody bends a note like Slash. Sure, you can probably play faster and you can be more technical, but nobody makes a note weep like Slash does. And that's what I love about Slash. Yeah, a little bit of everything, man. I don't try to stay in one camp for too long as far as what I listen to.
Yeah. When did you start playing with a band then? Was it some of the bluegrass stuff or?
It actually, it was not. Started playing, me and my buddy Josh Turner, different Josh Turner, not Long Black Train Josh Turner. But me and my buddy Josh started playing, and it was funny because we went to church together, and our parents were really close friends, and me and Josh did not get along at all. Like, I actually got beaten up a few times at church by Josh and two of his buddies, which looking back now is just kind of funny. Like, it was just stupid kid stuff. And then his dad started teaching me how to play guitar. So I'm at his house hanging out with his dad, drinking sweet tea that his mom made, playing one of his dad's guitars. And he just walks in like, what the hell's going on here, man? What are you hanging out with my dad for? And I was like, yeah, man, check this out. And I played him a couple of things, and he just had this pissed off look on his face. Went up to his room, and I think it was like a week later, and he started playing guitar. And then, our families were hanging out, and it was just kind of grew from there. It was kind of like hey, check this out. And then hey, check this out. I learned how to play this, blah, blah, blah. And we started playing together. And he and I started a band called Bar 12. And there's a CD out there somewhere called Start the Machine. And it's we were, 4-piece. We both sang. We both played rhythm. We both played lead. And it was cool. It was kind of like bluesy, kind of southern hard rock, just kind of a fusion of all that stuff. And
that's not the one I have, is it? That
yeah.
CD. It is.
Yep.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's actually Angel put it in the jukebox down at Ting's.
Nice.
It was pretty cool. So I was very, very flattered.
Does she have
by
six string riding there yet?
Not yet, but she will.
Oh man.
Or well, actually, you know what? I didn't check. I haven't asked her yet. I got to go down there and look again next time I'm down there hanging out.
Oh, Josh is good people. I'm glad you brought him in. What, a month ago?
Yeah, thereabouts.
Yeah. Him and Danny. I haven't got to it yet, but it's gonna be cool.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was a fun session, man. It's because we only see each other. We see each other about once a year, or every 2 years at least, and every time we get together, we got to play music together. That's just standard operating procedure, man. If I'm hanging out with Josh and Danny, and we wind up jamming somewhere, and it was kind of funny. We almost got kicked out of Music Villa in Bozeman. I went to pick them up at Bozeman Airport.
This last time,
yeah, it was hilarious. So I go over to Bozeman, pick them up, and I was like, "Hey, you guys want to kill an hour or two?" I was like, "Yeah, what do you got?" "Oh, let's go over to Music Villa." I was like, "All right, cool." So we go in, and I'm showing them around. I'm like, "This is the Martin Wall. This is the Gibson Wall. This is the Taylor Wall." And Danny's a big Taylor guy. He likes Taylors. And Josh likes Gibsons. And so we go, and the two walls are right next to each other. So Danny starts playing one, I start playing one, and Josh starts playing one, and we wind up, and they have couches set up, like leather couches, like inviting you to come play.
Yeah.
Of course, we took that as you're inviting us to start a jam session in the middle of your store. So, of course, Josh takes it was like $4,000, Gibson Jumbo off the wall. I take down like a $3,000 J45, like Murphy Lab, something or other. And Danny, he's playing like probably a $3,000 Taylor. And we're sitting having an acoustic jam session, and we broke into Symphony of Destruction by Megadeth. And I'm pretty sure the guy was the owner, and if he wasn't the owner, he was he was probably the manager. Comes over and he's like, "Hey guys, we just ask, if you want to test out the guitars, that's cool, but if you can just keep it down a little bit and maybe not play them so hard, and those are really expensive guitars." And I kind of was like, all right, well, I understand, but these were all hanging at floor level, and you got leather couches right here. Like, what did you think was going to happen, man? At some point, somebody's going to sit down and have a jam session. But so we left, but it was fun. I'll probably remember that till day I die.
The acoustic rendition of Megadeth.
Oh yeah,
that goes over good there.
Oh yeah. It was funny, man. So here's a fun little acoustic story tidbit. So Josh and I, and this was in the bar 12 years, and we were a 4-piece. We had a drummer and a bass player, and then the two of us. Every once in a while, the economy kind of started going downhill a little bit. Bars didn't want to pay full bands. It was getting expensive and whatever. So Josh and I started doing the acoustic duo thing. And we were playing one night, and I can't remember the name of the bar. Anyway, there's some little hole in the wall in Detroit. And the Detroit rugby team walks into the bar, and they start buying bottles. And they're passing bottles around between the rugby team. And I was like, I don't know if that's legal, but I'm not going to argue with the Detroit rugby team, right? And so finally, some guy stands up from the back of the bar and he goes, "Play some Megadeth." Well, little did he know that we'd done Ace of Spades before, and we'd never done it acoustic, but we'd done it, with Bar 12, and it was pretty good. And Josh, man, to his credit, that guy, when he sings Motorhead, he sounds like, Lemmy's nephew. Like he sounds like Lemmy Jr. He's got that growl, And I kind of look over at Josh and I kind of cock an eyebrow, and he's like, "Yeah, let's do it." It's like, all right. So we did an acoustic duo version of Ace of Spades, and it was pretty good. It was fun. They went nuts. We didn't get beat up that night, so it was good.
That's good. No, Josh is a powerful singer.
Yeah,
man, we were taming him.
Yeah,
I'm about to go. It was fun.
Yeah, you got to put the mic like 2 feet away from him when he cuts the track.
Danny's stuff's good too. I'm excited to get done with that. Well, so it was you and Josh were kind of the constants then.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, we did the writing, and it's good drummer, good bass player. Guitar players are a dime a dozen. Frontmen seem to be a dime a dozen. But having a good rhythm section is just worth its weight in gold. And we never could get a steady, constant rhythm section for that band for some reason. So it was always, we had 2 or 3 different bass players, and we'd have 2 or 3 different drummers, and who can we get to play this night? And
that's true. It's true, man. I'll tell you, as I'm a bass player, for people listening. But there's only 2 drummers I ever got.
Don't let him. He's a hell of a bass player.
Well, thanks, Lance.
That dude can tear a bass in half and still make it sound good.
Maybe not quite, but but what you're saying there, there's 2 drummers in particular. I remember, I'd say maybe 3 that I got so tight with that you start just locking in all the time. You're doing fills together, all this stuff. You aren't even thinking about it. It's like telepathy.
Oh yeah.
To get to that point, though, takes time.
Oh yeah, for sure. We might have had 1 or 2 guys like that we were locked in with. And then, but especially, in Detroit and then later on in Portland, both are big music towns. And, you got a good drummer, you got a good bass player. They're not just playing with you. They're playing with 5 other bands, and they're playing 5, 6, 7 nights a week. And you're playing 1 or 2 nights a week because you're a guitar player. And nobody needs another guitar player. So that was just kind of how it was for a while. We had to have guys kind of ready to go that, this guy's not available. Well, we'll play a duo night then. We'll do the acoustic duo thing. and it worked pretty well. We did some cool stuff. Our main mission was to do songs that nobody expected you to play acoustically. That was kind of the Bar 12 acoustic duo mission. We did a version of Eclipse Brain Damage by Pink Floyd acoustic. And it was cool, man. And you'd start playing into it and going into the intro, and everybody would stop talking and heads would turn and they'd look at the stage, and you'd look at a couple of people and they'd have this look on their face like, no way, they're not playing that, are they? And it's like, yeah, we're playing that. What? Yeah, we're gonna play the whole thing too. But that was the fun behind it, it's catching people off guard.
Man, we talked about some of this stuff before in our sessions, but not in depth. So I didn't know that. You guys are playing some odd stuff. That's cool. Yeah,
we definitely did. We did an acoustic version of Metallic of Whiskey in the Jar, and that was cool. That was really cool. Cool. If we were playing St. Patty's Day, we had to play that one. And
that reminds me of this band in Kansas City. It's called like the Keopectones or something like that. But they were like a really, really good blues band on the weekend, like one of the primo bands there. But everybody but the front man played on like Wednesday nights. and they played all covers, but it was all way weird covers, B-sides and stuff like that they'd play. I'll just never forget, it's burned in my memory, the bass player getting in front of the mic. The Shaka Khan song, I Feel For You?
I think so.
He just gets up on the mic and goes, Taco John's, Taco John's, Taco John's, and just starts going into it, except it's the stupidest thing I've ever seen, but ruined that song for me forever.
That's awesome.
But that's cool you guys did that. And so he moved out. You guys both moved out to Portland.
Yeah, we moved
and kept
out
the
there.
band going. I didn't know that.
Yeah, we we were just kind of looking for a change of scenery. We wanted to get out of Detroit, and Detroit, like I said, big music town at the time. And this isn't a dig. I'm not gonna rip on Detroit, but at the time, if you weren't a rapper, or you weren't straight blues, or you weren't like metal for some reason, you kind of had a hard time, breaking in. And we were just this kind of weird, we'd show up to open mic nights at blues bars, and they'd have, full backline, drum kit, bass player, and they'd put different people up, to jam, and you'd wind up playing with somebody that you never played with before. So everybody pretty much did a lot of standard 1-4-5 bluesy stuff. Pride and Joy, pretty sure got played like 4 times every night. Yeah. And because everybody knew it, and you're like, this is safe. We can play this with this person, and it'll sound good. And we did that. We used to hit like 4 or 5 open mics a week, and it was fun and it was great. But we would show up and we would play Voodoo Child, or we would play whatever Hendrix we felt like playing that night, or whatever, if there was a Skynyrd song that we could explain on the fly, we would do it. Just to do something different, to do something a little harder, a little louder, a little bit faster. That was kind of our mission. And it was great. But then on the flip side, it was like, well, yeah, they're bluesy, but they're almost too rock for the blues clubs, but they're too bluesy for the rock clubs. And they're a little too Southern rock for like everyone. So it was like, they're just kind of weird, and they're kind of their own thing, which can be good, but it can also kind of bite you in the rear. So I think it was a little of both. But
I know the Portland of today is not the Portland of when you moved out there. But
no,
what was the deciding factor moving that area? Besides out west, I guess.
We had some friends that wanted to move, and they were talking about moving out there, and they had previously lived in Bend, and they were like, they'd come back to Michigan for a little bit, and they were like, yeah, we're going back out there, but we're going to Portland. It's like, oh, what's Portland like? And then it was like a week later, we just decided, like, yeah, we're going to move to Portland, I guess. I was 20 years old, sounded cool. It wasn't Detroit, and here we go. And that was pretty much it.
So you guys recorded that album and stuff before you were even...
Yeah, we recorded that album in Michigan.
Dang, you're young recording that then.
I was 19 when we recorded Start the Machine. And the cool thing about that was we had a keyboard guy at the time that I will say that he was part of the band. He might not say that because he played with like every band in town. So he didn't have a band. He had all the bands. And his name was Joe Neely, super cool guy. I still miss him to this day. Really, really great guy. Awesome, awesome guy on the keys. And he knew somehow, and I don't know how he knew this guy, but he knew Al Hirschman, who was the guy that produced Grand Funk Railroad and did some work with Bob Seger, did some work with George Harrison, all these guys. And I'm sitting here like, no way. He goes, yeah, you guys should come record with him. And I'm thinking like, well, I can't afford a plane ticket to California. He goes, no, he's in Fenton, Michigan. What? He goes, yeah, he's only like an hour and a half from here. Oh, all right. So we did. We went up there and booked a day with him. And really cool guy. He actually kind of reminded me of like a hippie version of my dad, which is kind of fun. Recording with Al was a lot of fun. He had this pole barn set up. You'd walk in and he lived in his studio. So like one half of it was like his house and then the other half was the studio. And this guy recorded, small time bands like us for fun. And he made his money doing sound for like the Detroit Auto Show and football and all that kind of stuff. And so we go out there. And he was probably, for all the people that he's worked with and all the people that he's met and all the things that he's done, he's probably one of the most humble guys I've ever met. And he would like name drop without name dropping.
Yeah. And
he was telling a story. And, he'd tell a story. He'd go, yeah, I was on the road one time and I was running sound for Ted and we ran into the blah, blah, blah. And I'd have to stop and I go, oh, who's Ted? And he goes,
Uncle Ted?
Yeah. He goes, oh, Nuge. I'm like, what? No way. And then he'd pull out a picture of him and Ted Nugent. I'm like, whoa. Like, I am way out of my league here. And, he had done some work with George Harrison, like I said, Bob Seger. It was just so cool. And the studio that we recorded in was where Grand Funk had recorded Some Kind of Wonderful, American Band, all the Grand Funk classics. And I was like, oh my gosh, I kind of feel like I'm, like you're standing on sacred ground, and you're just kind of intimidated, but in a good way. Yeah, that was where that album was recorded. The artwork was done there. It's kind of funny if you open the booklet and it's all kind of distorted and there's like wires and stuff going everywhere. All we did was we took one of the cover panels off the console and took a picture of all the wires and then put it in his wife's computer and just did a distortion, like photo edit kind of thing, and added a bunch of crazy colors and made it look all futuristic because we were on a budget. We didn't have any money.
I'll put that on here so people can see it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, and it was very much a low budget but very well done low budget project. Because with a guy like Al Hirschman at the helm, you're not going to sound bad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so. That was a really cool experience, especially at 19 years old. To go and do something like that.
I would have killed to record that age. Gosh.
Yeah, everything kind of just lined up, and we knew a guy who knew a guy. Was pretty much how that happened. And then if you listen to that album, anything that's keys, that's all Joe Neely. He's on there. He recorded it with us. And then we had Mike Cora and Bob DeGeorge. Mike Cora on drums, and Bob was on bass, and they were both top shelf musicians. They were friends of Joe's. And we did like 2 rehearsals before we went in and recorded. And we went in and recorded and they nailed it. We had them in the studio. We did one 10-hour session with Bob and Mike. And it was and they were done. They nailed their parts. They were good to go. We spent the next 2 days laying solos, dubbing in solos and stuff like that. And we, from start to finish, it was done being recorded. We did it in 3 days. Like 10, 11 hours a piece. So it was kind of cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Back in the day when I could do that kind of stuff.
So after recording that, you kept up with that band in Portland for a while.
Yeah. Yep.
You guys moved out there. And I guess same kind of scene you were finding, or obviously different area, but
Yeah, it was a different scene, kind of same story. I mean, we definitely had some people that liked what we were doing, but still, it was like a little too Southern rock for, the blues clubs and a little too bluesy for the rock clubs. And we didn't really do metal, quote unquote. So it's like, it's all right. But it was fun. There was a lot of cool, met a lot of cool people out there. A lot of great musicians are out there. A lot of really interesting clubs. One of my favorite joints to play in the Portland area, and I don't know if it's still there. I don't think it is. But it was called the Queen of Hearts, and it was a biker bar. It was a patch-friendly biker bar. And this guy named Big Joe Evans, he was kind of like that teddy bear nice guy, like your uncle, but he'd stab you if you had to because he was a biker. And he owned the bar. I watched him like physically remove people from the bar, and I'm like, man, I'm glad you own this place, because if you didn't, I wouldn't come in here. But there's a lot of cool clubs and a lot of fun places to play, and I don't know, man. It just got a little too crazy. It just wasn't for me. So I kind of just moved out here, and life's been great. Life's been great in Montana.
So one thing gets me, but we got along over this because I like a lot of different music besides country. I do like country. What got you into playing and singing country?
It's kind of always been, even though, Bar 12, we didn't play a lot of country. We'd do like Folsom Prison and, stuff that everybody knew and whatever, but it was mostly rock, mostly Southern rock, bluesy stuff. They say, it always comes full circle. And being a kid, growing up on traditional bluegrass and country music, it just it started out in the Portland area, and a lot of it, wanting to play it again and wanting to sing it again, came after I met my wife. I met her, and she was, huge Waylon fan. She was big into Eric Church at the time. A lot of people, and she'd show me these pictures of shows that she had gone to and taken pictures with some pretty famous people. And she's got a picture with Justin Moore, and just before Justin Moore got huge, she'd go to all like the radio station promo concerts.
Yeah.
Like, up and coming new artist, Justin Moore. And like nobody really knew who he was. So I started listening to some of the newer stuff that was coming out at the time, and got into Chris Cagle, Justin Moore, Eric Church, and Randy Rogers, Wade Bowen. If it wasn't for my wife, I wouldn't know who Randy Rogers is, Wade Bowen, Stoney LaRue, any of those guys. So I owe her a lot of credit for that. She definitely got me into a lot of the newer stuff that was coming out. I got, heavy into Brad Paisley. I love Brad Paisley, man. Just a beast of a guitar player. Great writer. Great singer. Oh man, that guy changed how I play guitar. After listening to the album Play, which there's like 16 tracks on that album, and like 3 of them have lyrics. It's like instrumental. And that album changed how I play guitar.
Really? I'm going to listen to that.
It's fantastic. He does rock on it. He does blues. He obviously country. Some jazzy stuff. I mean, the dude's all over the map on that album, and it's great. I don't know, man. I just did the full band thing with Bar 12, did the acoustic duo thing, and especially after moving out here, I kind of wanted to do the solo thing for a while, because especially these days, at being married and at the time having a kid on the way, it was like, well, I'm not going to have time for rehearsals and wrangling everybody together, getting them in the same room at the same time. And just started writing my own stuff. And a lot of the stuff that came out, the first song that I ever wrote in Montana, actually, fun fact, I wrote when I was working at Napa, behind the counter, sales counter at Napa. And I was doing training on the computer. There was no customers in the store. It was dead. And I was about to fall asleep. And so I had my little pad and paper right there next to the computer. Just kind of started writing stuff down. And I wrote Holding On to Yesterday, And that's on the album. That's on Six String Ride. And it's one of my favorite songs. And it just came out sounding like a country song. I loved it. And so started writing more, and probably half the songs on Six String Ride were written behind the counter of the Napa Helena store.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's Ghost Town, Holding On to Yesterday, Six String Ride. Gosh, what was the other one? There's like two more. they were written at Napa. I just started writing songs, and that was what they sounded like. You know, country music has always been a part of my life. It's always been a part of who I am. And it definitely is a lot more suitable when you're a solo performer.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get up and play thrash metal as a solo acoustic guy, or like even bluegrass. I mean, bluegrass, to really play bluegrass correctly, or not to sound like a purist or anything, but to play bluegrass and sell it as bluegrass, you got to have a banjo. It'd be great if you had a mandolin player. It'd be great if you had a fiddle player. Dobro. There's certain things in it that make it bluegrass, that make it sound like bluegrass. I can get up and play Blue Moon of Kentucky as a solo acoustic guy, and it's going to sound like country. But when Bill Monroe played it, it was mandolin. And it was all the elements that he had in his band that made it bluegrass. And so it was one of those things that just kind of lined up and was like, yeah, this makes sense. Let's do this.
When did you start gigging out here?
Oh, man. Let's see. We moved out here in 2018. Probably like 6 months after we moved here.
That's pretty good.
I walked into Chubby's restaurant. Chubby's Bar in Clancy. Yeah. And I went up to the bar and I asked, I was like, do you guys ever have live music in here? And she was like, yeah, we do sometimes. It's like, well, if there's somebody that I can talk to about that, just playing a show. She's like, yeah, the owner's sitting right over there. And, Dave, I went and talked to Dave at Chubby's, and it was a very short conversation. He goes, what do you play? It's like, I play guitar and sing. He goes, all right. I'll pay you $150. All right, sold. And like 2 weeks later, I played at Chubby's. Started playing there, and then started playing at Ting's, which is now my home bar headquarters. I got to play at Ting's at least once a month, and that's just how it is. And love playing there. Those are my people, Jefferson City. I play at Dave's 32 in Boulder, Silver Saddle in Basin. Those are kind of the steady spots that I like to play at around here.
I saw Tangs was on Best of Helena list. Man, I hope they win.
Oh, I do too, man. So much. We're pulling for you, Tings.
Oh, yeah.
It's in the bag.
Man, first time I went to Tings, they were selling a can of Vienna sausages with like a fork taped to them for for $1 or something.
Yep.
I was like, this is a good bar.
Oh, yeah.
There's your food.
You will not go hungry at Tings. No, it's hilarious, man. Every time we go into Tings, man, and I got my two boys with me, and Buck, I'll walk in with the boys, and if Buck's behind the bar, the first thing he does is he walks over and asks the boys, "Hey, you guys want a popsicle?" And he takes them into the back, gets them a popsicle, and yeah, it's good. It's a great place.
But then the Six String Ride, I guess we'll get into that. It's a big part of what we're doing here. The genesis of it. I meet Marilyn at Clancy Library.
Yeah.
It's basically it, because I was bringing my boys Sam, I guess just him, to Clancy Library for the story time on like Thursday. I usually work an evening shift. But she was in there a couple times with Clyde, same age as my kid. But then she invited us to Clancy Days, said Stick Horse Rodeo, go to that. And I told Haley, because, man, since I've been moving up here, I've just been working. Working on the house, working at my job, not getting out, not meeting people. And I ain't upset with that. It's just what I was doing.
Oh, yeah.
But met you at the Stick Horse thing. You mentioned you played guitar, which I don't know if anybody listening is more seasoned musician. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it sounds like a jerk thing. If I hear somebody plays guitar, I kind of don't care too much, like, okay, neat.
Like you're the college student that shows up at the campfire and plays the same 3 chords for an hour and a half.
You just don't know, but there's more people that play a little than are like putting out albums like Six String Ride, right? Right. So I was kind of like, okay, neat. And then, but I said, what do you play? So I was kind of feeling you out. You said, oh, mainly originals. And I was like, how many originals you got? And you told me like, I don't remember if it was 20 or 40 or something, but it was a lot. And I was like, dang. I said, you ever get recorded anything? Because at this point, I'd just been finishing up what was becoming the studio, but I wasn't using it for music. I was eventually going to record some stuff I do, but I don't really want to put it out there. It's just for me. But I was wanting to learn the software, so I pitched it. Would you want to record like a demo?
Yeah,
that's basically it. And
I was thinking, and when you pitched it, the original idea that I had in my head was, we'll do 3-4 songs. I was thinking I would just come in, put a mic in front of me, and I'll play and sing, and we'll just do that, and that'll be like a rough cut. I can shop that around for, I'm trying to get a gig here, and I'll just give a copy to the bar. I thought, that's what I thought.
Well, that's what we both thought.
Yeah, and then it turned into Six String Ride, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah, which, look, I got the CD copy here.
Nice.
And if people listening don't have it, you better get it, because when you're big, you talk about a collector's item, man. The first run.
Oh man,
seriously.
I don't know, man. And that would be sweet, but
it's more likely than winning the lottery. Spend the money on this.
Well, thanks, man.
Oh, so I don't forget, my buddy Brian Seraphin.
Yes, sir.
Did the artwork.
Yep.
Or helped with the artwork, but I guess real quick, if you go over that, because people see the album, that picture you took.
Yeah, I took that on cover. My phone. And it's kind of a funny little story. A friend of mine, my buddy Josh, different Josh, lives right up the road from me. Him and his old man, they build cars, they flip cars and old cars. And he texts me and he says, hey, I just picked up a project. Oh, what'd you get? Now, brief backstory, one of my dream vehicles that I want to build is anything, like 58, 59 Apache up to, like a 66 C10. I'd even go to like a 72 C10. I think anything in there would be sweet. He goes, oh, I picked up it's like a 60 or 61 Apache. It's like, seriously, man? You just bought one of my dream vehicles and you're going to build it and sell it off, huh? Yeah, that's the plan. I was like, oh, great. So we were going over to their house for dinner, and I had my guitar in the truck. And we get there, and I just get this wild hair. I'm like, hey, man, you mind if I go take some pictures of that truck? So, yeah, I don't care. So took my guitar up there and just leaned it on the bumper. I was like, oh, that's cool. Snapped it. And that became the album cover. And, Brian Seraphin, man, that guy's a wizard. I appreciate you getting me in touch with him. And it's funny because I've never met him in person. He's down in Florida, right?
Yeah.
We did everything through email and little bits here and there. Hey man, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. And we just kind of connected. And it was like, it'll be a year, I think, at the end of this summer. And I'm still looking forward to meeting the guy. Like, I'm looking forward to, taking him to Tings and buying him a beer.
Yeah, I'll make him listen to this so he comes out. I've been bugging him about coming out here.
Right,
but,
yeah.
No, he's my old buddy from Air Force days, and I knew he's into photo work stuff, so that worked out because he got the format right, all that. The inside, is that any picture in particular?
That was Brian. So Brian, and I told him, I was like, hey, just make it a plain blank. We don't need to spend a bunch of time, just blank and put my logo on it, and then put the song list and whatever and liner notes and stuff. And
he came through, and he's sharp, dude. He's handling this stuff.
He sent it back to me and he said, hey, here's some pictures, and he went and found some pictures of some mountains in Montana and did that for the backdrop.
Oh, sweet.
And I forget which mountain that one is, but he was saying, oh, this one, it's over here, blah, blah, blah. I figured that'd be cool. And I kind of threw that in there just to see if you liked it. So yeah, man, that's great. And that's wonderful. Leave it.
The back is looking out at Boulder Valley through the rearview mirror.
Yep.
And there's a 6-string going for a ride. What a play on words.
Right.
For the album that one is. That's with some of the song titles there.
That's, and I didn't even think about it until now, but the front cover, the guitar leaning up on the bumper is like, it's about to go for a ride. And then the back cover is, it went for a ride. But
before we get more of the meat of the album, you already talked about Marilyn.
Yep.
But thanks to Marilyn and my wife Haley for actually, I guess, letting this happen. Because I don't think they really thought it was going to happen. I know my wife especially was probably wondering when she hears Ozzy Bark at the Moon getting jammed to, if we're actually recording a country album or not.
That's kind of how we roll, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll show up and we have to BS for like a half an hour, 40 minutes before we get any work done. That's not I wouldn't say that's 406 Records standard operating procedure. That's a Lance and Kyle operating procedure as far as I know.
It's kind of being that way.
And that's perfect.
It's up to whoever's recording, you know what I mean? But if it's I don't like pressure.
No, you can't.
In a sense, like putting pressure on somebody, like if it's a relaxed environment, we're going to get good results. None of those good artists or good albums that you hear are people like Under the Clock and
no.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's, I come down, this is pretty much how it happens for all you guys out there listening. I show up, get something to drink, come down the stairs, and we sit and talk about music or whatever just happens to be on our minds. And we chill for about a half an hour at least. And then we get to work and we start getting stuff done. And
it did help. We're like neighbors.
Yes,
surprisingly,
yes, that did. So I live like less than a mile. Down the road from you, which definitely helped when you're doing, night sessions when you don't start until 9:00, 9:30.
And for the first one too, because like I said, the wives letting us get it done because this wasn't a studio. You know what I mean? We were starting any of this.
Oh, yeah.
And then you don't have results for months.
Exactly. And that can be frustrating, especially for the wife that's, okay, you're leaving at 8:30. And so I'm going to go to bed in like an hour and a half and I'll see you tomorrow. And huge thanks to Haley, man. She's a trooper. I come over and I steal you for 3-4 hours at a time at night. It's just a huge shout out and a thank you. We both owe our wives a ton.
Oh, for sure. Back on the how it happened. So first thing we recorded was Rearview Mirror.
Yep.
Guitar, vocals, and I think it was just that.
It was. Yeah, it was just that for a little while.
Mm-hmm. Because anybody listening, this is, I hope you don't think it sounds like it, but a highly experimental album as far as figuring stuff out. Equipment, etc. But Rearview Mirror, I remember we did first, and that got us into the mic you're using now.
Yep. And that, funny story behind that. So I was looking at deco mics, the chrome, shiny Elvis mics. And aside from the fact that they look cool, because they do, I was just curious if they sounded that much different than, say, like a Shure 80.
It's a Super 55, I think.
So yeah, there's the Shure, or no, I'm gonna sound like an idiot. Not sure. I can't remember. Yeah, there's the Super 55, which I've seen people use.
See, Gary's got one, and I'll show you the recording because we compared them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Every time I've seen somebody use one of those at a bar gig, I've seen it feedback. Like pretty much every time. So I kind of turned off of that one. And I was looking at the heel or the Heil, however you say that.
Yeah.
And it's called the Finn. And it's a sweet looking mic. And it sounds great. And I was curious about it. So then you turn around and just buy one. And the next session that I come in, you've got one. And tried it out. And it sounded great. And it sounded so good that we went back and recorded every single vocal track for all the songs.
Which was like,
mic.
at the time, it was like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah, we re-recorded like 4 songs, vocal tracks, just because.
That mic, and I won't say the brand because I don't know it either, but the Finn, I'll call it. There was some video somebody compared that and the Super 55, and I liked it. I liked the Finn a little better. So got it, and they had the scratch and dent sale.
Yep. Oh yeah.
On their website.
I think I'm gonna buy another one just to have a backup.
Yeah, same color.
I don't know, man. I might have to go with the red. Just for like Christmas.
When you showed me that stuff, I thought,
Day.
man, that's some gimmicky shit.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And then no, it's good. Pardon the language. But once we got the Finn, though, it was recording a bunch. The first song, and I want to go with you kind of one by one on the songs in a bit, but the first song we got kind of done, or at least I thought we got kind of done, was Words of Wisdom.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a demo, and that was probably March, April of 24.
Yep.
Like trying to get one all the way, and at that point, and that's why, seriously, thank you for doing all this, because that got me back into music. It started the studio, because I seriously would not be doing it.
Well,
but
glad I could help, man. And thank you for putting it out there of, hey, do you want to record? Because it had been years. I don't even know how many years since I'd been in a studio. And the last studio I was in was not nearly as nice as this one.
Well, this was like studio in name only, man.
Right, yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing with it. But dude, I've been out of music since 2015. Like playing in bands and stuff. So, to go that long, and it's always a huge part of my life, but yeah, it got me back in it, and then turns out I like doing it. That was the big thing. I didn't hate it. I was actually having a blast. So,
oh yeah.
Words of Wisdom. At that point, I thought, oh man, this is actually be a pretty killer album, like sound-wise even. The songs are always good.
Thanks. And one thing I want to throw out there too is for any of you guys, local musicians that are shopping around for a studio in Montana, check out 406. It's a great place, and Kyle is definitely a wizard behind the board at the helm. Man, that guy knows what he's doing. And I will say too that Six String Ride is, as far as when you listen to it, and the quality is there. At least I think it is. And that album is going to be the worst sounding album that comes out of 406 Records. Because at the time we were working on the old board, and we didn't have, go into at least a little bit of some of the stuff. You upgraded a lot of stuff.
Yeah, as we had some upgrades, though, we never changed what we were using with you. Yeah. We didn't want the album to sound different.
Yeah, we kept the same setup throughout the whole project.
I got some stuff because of talking to Jake and maybe doing something bigger and moving on, but no, there's a market for good music getting out there.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. And I don't know, you guys go to the website, you can see the deal. This whole thing's not so much about the studio, but this is the story of how it started. So I appreciate letting me get on that a little bit.
Of course.
I think the album still sounds awesome.
Oh, I think it sounds great.
I've been listening to it a lot lately, actually, last couple of weeks. That's
to the point, though. I think it sounds fantastic, and it's going to be the worst sounding album that comes out of 406 because of, it was.
We're recording through basically kind of some junk.
Yeah, it was bare bones. It was a bare bones kind of setup when we recorded Six String Ride, and it is not that anymore.
And see, then I'll get back to Six String Ride in a second, but your Christmas single, Born in the Barn,
yep,
that's another step up.
Yes.
There's some changes there, and there's some changes since then. And that one is for a future project, the Montana Christmas album.
Oh, yes.
But
oh, yeah.
On to Six String Ride, because it's just good. Here's to Tonight. Great tune.
Thanks, man.
I think that's the one with the mystery solo in it that no one remembers that it was recorded.
It happens. Magical things happen in the studio, and that's I don't remember that. Yeah, that was the ghost solo that we don't remember cutting, but it got cut.
We sat down. kind of punch list items, right? Like, we got to do this solo for this song. I pull up the thing. I'm like, there's already a solo on this. We listen to it. We like it.
Yep. And we just left it alone. It's like, well, no need to do that. We just saved ourselves an hour.
Yeah.
Let's go on to the next thing.
No bourbon involved in that solo. I don't know if I got a favorite. He's Half You, though.
Oh, man.
That's up there.
So, and thank you. And that's one of my favorites. It's a dual purpose song. You know, it talks about my oldest boy, Clyde, and he was 2 when I started writing it, and I finished it when he was 3. And yeah, the song's about him, but it's kind of a somewhat covert shout out to my wife, because my wife, Marilyn's amazing. She's a great mom. She's a wonderful person. Those of you guys that know her, you know what I'm talking about. So I had this kind of wild hair one day. We were recording it. We'd been working on it, and I was at home, and me and Clyde were hanging out, and I had it in my head, and I pulled out my phone. I pulled out my voice recording app, and I was like, Clyde, come here. I said, yeah, what's up, Dad? It's like, hey, I need you to do me a favor. And I started snapping out the tempo. And I was like, when I hit this button, I just want you to say, Daddy, I love you. Okay. So I, and I got the tempo kind of for him, snapping it out. And I hit the record button, and I pointed at him, and he said it, and I recorded it and brought it into Kyle and said, hey, man, can you pull this off my phone? This needs to be on the song. And so Clyde, at 4 years old, 3.5, 4 years old, 3, made his first debut on a studio album. So he's got Michael Jackson beat by 2 years.
That's that. I didn't know you snapped it out. I figured you were playing or something, or had a little recording for him, because his timing was like on.
Yeah, his timing was perfect. That kid's got rhythm. That kid's got rhythm. Man. He was dancing around. We were watching the Minions movie earlier this evening, and the end credits, and I think it was, they call me Mellow Yellow at the end credits, and he's dancing to it, and he's just got perfect rhythm. It's nuts.
That's good, man. It's like divine intervention making that one happen exactly perfect.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't mess with that at all.
I'm pretty sure that was a God thing.
No, for real. But He's Half You. I got to stay on that for a second, because it's funny. My oldest kid, Clyde's age, he calls that Clyde's song.
Yep. That is Clyde's song.
And if he hears it on Jefferson County Radio, which your album is playing, which is it Bruce,
yep.
Last name?
Bruce Binkowski.
Putting that on, awesome.
Yeah, and a huge thank you to Bruce. And
to have that on the radio, I don't care the station.
Yeah, it's very awesome. Cool. It is very cool. I'll be at work. If it's my turn to drive loader that day at work, I'll be cruising around in the loader, and I'll have it on Jeffco radio, and it still surprises me. It still catches me off guard, because I'll be cruising around and they'll be playing Willie or somebody, and then the next song, and I'm like, oh, it's my song, and they play all 10 songs. They don't just play 1 or 2. They play all 10 songs on that album, which blew me away. I thought Bruce was going to pick 1 or 2. Oh, we like this one the best. We'll play that one. No, he played all 10.
No, thanks to Bruce for that. And also thanks to Bruce for messing up what my kid and probably your kid thinks music is like.
Yep.
They've got a distorted reality of commercial music.
Oh, yeah.
And me and you had as kids. They just think it just happens. And your dads are involved.
Yeah, right. Yep. They're going to get older and go, huh, they were pretty cool.
But yeah, he always says Clyde's song. And my oldest too, he a lot of time when I listen to music, he goes, turn on Lance Handyside. And I just think it's funny. But it's, for a kid that age, you're as big as Garth Brooks or any other artist he knows.
Oh, man.
He knows Johnny Cash, but he knows Lance Handyside. Ain't that a trip?
That's wild. That is insane. No, that's hilarious.
Clyde likes that song too, right? Does he call it his?
He loves that song. Yep. Every time it comes on, I'm like, buddy, it's your song, and he gets this look on his face like he's about to get a piece of candy or something. I turn the radio up for him.
Yeah, that's gonna especially mess with him.
Oh,
Clyde.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If those two aren't in some super group, I'd be slightly bummed.
Well, at least our retirements will be covered.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about cars earlier. I tried to tell my kid He got some old car book from when I was a kid. There's a Maserati MC12 in there, which I don't know if you know what that is. It's a Ferrari Enzo with a Maserati body kit from like early 2000s. And he asked me how much it is, and I told him. He's like, can I buy it someday? I was like, you do really good.
Yep.
I said, tell you what, Sam, you can buy me one someday. And he's like, nah.
Well, I thought he wanted a Corvette, though. He's all about the Corvette.
Yeah, his kids are gearheads, man. I don't know what happened to him.
The Corvette will be his grocery getter.
Yeah. So holding on to Yesterday, is it Your Boss? He really liked that song out at
Marv. Yeah.
Marv.
And I gotta give a shout out to everyone at Marks Miller Post and Pole where I work. They're just awesome. They work, first of all, I get to work 410s, which there's so many people out there that would kill to work 410s.
Like me.
Yeah. Right. 410s and actually get home at like 5:30. Yeah. Wouldn't that be wild? But no, they're great. Anytime I've got if I get to open, for like a national act, if I got like a show in Great Falls or something like that, they'll let me have the day off, or they'll work with me on it, whatever I need to do. They're super supportive people, and they come to the shows, which is nuts, and you go and get up on stage, especially at Lewis and Clark, at the brewery there in Helena, and they'll be up on the upper level, and I will get on stage and I say hi to everybody and introduce myself, and then I look up and there's like 7-8 people from Marks that are just, hey man, we're here for you. And I so appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome.
No, that's sweet. Hold On to Yesterday I really like. I like the whole song. I like what we did with the sound,
Yeah.
The solo, the fill. And any of these other songs, whatever you want to say about them, go for it. But that's up to you.
Oh man. I don't know if I have a favorite. If I had to pick a favorite to play live, it would have to be Ghost Town. And that one gets a lot of requests. If I'm playing at Tings or playing somewhere around here, there's always like at least one or two people that are like, hey, play Ghost Town. And I love playing it. It's a fun song to play. It's not your standard song.
It's funny. My nephew in Louisiana, he was learning billiards down here, pool.
Yeah.
And I was playing your album because I was still mixing it.
Okay.
And I'm still listening, and trying to figure out what's what with it. He kept wanting to hear Ghost Town again. He likes that song. When it came out, I sent it to him, and he's like, that's a good song.
Oh, I'll take it. That is awesome. That is wonderful. I'm hitting like all the age demographics that I want to hit. There's young kids that are like, oh, I love this song, and I like that guy. And then there's younger adults that are like, yeah, that's pretty good, I dig it. And then there's middle-aged and an older crowd, and it kind of hits everybody. Everybody is listening to it, and then you go on CD Baby and you look at the reports, and it'll tell you like what your most popular age demographic is, and they're all fairly even.
Really? That's cool.
It's crazy. The only ones that are a little bit lower is like the 18 to 24 group, but it's okay. They'll get there.
Yeah, they'll get there. Listen to crap that sucks right now.
Yeah, pretty much.
So then Words of Wisdom, that was the first song we got, like I said, kind of finished, a finished product. I actually traveled back home, showed a bunch of family members and stuff, and they were all like, oh, that's a good song,
Yeah.
That one I like a lot. Love the guitar solo in it. And, I'll just say it now. This is the thing with the guitar solos that kind of trip me out. And I consider myself an all right bass player. Like, I can do some stuff. Usually I can tell if somebody's like really got something extra, with like musicianship or something. You take guitar real seriously, which is a lot of the reason we got along, because I like that. But the solos throughout this album, at some point, and I don't know which song it was, I asked Lance, I said, when'd you write that one? Or how long does it take you to write a solo? Because I assume anybody on their album is going to write out a solo and make it like perfect. But you're just winging it.
Pretty much. Okay, so I would say the only solo that was kind of pre-written at all was Six String Ride, the electric solo at the end. And that, I didn't pre-write it before I came down here to record it, but Well, I basically showed up at your house. We tested the amp levels and tone and all that stuff. We're like, yeah, that sounds good. And I took 20 minutes, maybe.
Well, that one's the funniest one to me because I remember how it went down.
Yeah.
All you came out to do was set the amp levels or record the solo later.
Yeah.
Was the plan.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
So because that was the plan, I didn't exactly have the studio sterile, as you'd call it. Sam, my oldest, is down here bouncing around the couch, having a good time. I was grilling, so I kept going up and down trying to check my charcoals and junk. At some point, I just left you on loop and hit record and was like, see you, Lance.
Yep.
And you recorded the thing. I come back down, stop it, because we looped the guitar to fill up the set amount of time, and you stopped it. But even at that point, we weren't like done. We're like, cool. We checked it out, and then I sent it to you, and you were just like, leave it. That one's good.
Yep.
So that was I bounced around a little bit, but that six-string ride, the outro guitar solo was just, it wasn't supposed to be the final take, but it is.
Yeah. That's
So
well,
leave it.
and like it says in Words of Wisdom, man, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
And I've never, if I'm covering a song, like if I'm playing with a band, like I did some shows with Longhorn for a couple of summers and filling in for Terry, and their set list, like 90% of their set list is all songs that I grew up with. So I knew most of them already. And so I could remember what the solo sounds like. If I'm playing a cover and I'm trying to do the song justice, I'm at least going to start the guitar solo with however they started the guitar solo on the album.
Yeah.
Because people remember stuff like that. People don't remember after the first few licks, most people don't remember what the rest of the solo sounds like. So I'm at least going to pay homage to the guy that recorded that solo. On my own stuff, I'm probably not going to play it the same way twice as far as solos go. I will throw in some of the trademark licks because I remember some of the licks that are in there, some of the runs, and I'll do some of the same licks and some of the same runs. But I guarantee you, if I get to play Six String Ride with a band and I do that solo live, it's not going to be the same solo. There's going to be some of the same. There's going to be some of the same licks in it. There's going to be some of the same licks in it, but they're not going to be in the same order. We'll just say that. But it'll have the same feel.
Because there's that one to me, and it's probably, hey, maybe it has something to do with, I got to record it, right? Allegedly, because I wasn't even down here for the final cut. But I'll tell you what, that song, how the solo hits at the end, and kind of because it's like, the rest of the album does not have that in it.
Right.
But man, you ever listen to something like Hair Stand Up in the Back of Your Neck?
Yeah.
There's only two songs to do it for me. Sultan's a Swing by
Dire
Straits.
Yeah.
The solo at the end, man, every time. That one too.
Oh, jeez.
So there you go.
Dude, you can't put me in that category.
I'm serious, man.
Mark Knopfler, what a beast.
Yeah, that's a good.
That is like the ultimate compliment, though. Thank you, man.
I just got a Goodwill, like 3 Mark Knopfler solo albums. No idea if they're good or not. Got to find out.
I mean, the guitar work's at least going to be good.
No clue, man. I haven't listened to anything besides Dire Straits with him. But, geez, I got to get back on it. Ghost Town. Also, we already talked about it a little. Do love it. I was real proud of the intro and outro. It sounded big and fab. It's just a good song. That one took us a bit. I think we recut something on it, but it was, who knows?
Yeah, I mean,
it's a good song.
There was a couple. I mean, aside from vocals, we recut a bunch of vocals just because the mic sounded better. But
yeah.
I mean, there was some guitar stuff that we recut, but
that's the thing I'd say too. A lot of these are one take.
There's a couple
or two.
There's a couple
or two, but there's not many. It's 3.
No, I think there's. I think there's like 3 songs, maybe 3 songs on the album that were more than 2.
Because even Rearview Mirror, back to the first one we'd cut, that guitar track is still the exact same one from what? August of 23 or something? Somewhere around there when we started it.
Yeah.
So that never changed. Now, Let It Hurt, I Still Got a Grandmother, that's her favorite song.
Really?
Yep.
Oh man, that's awesome. And I got to give a shout out to my buddy Randy. He's the reason that song made it on the album. We were working on some final stuff. We had 9 songs wrapped up, pretty much, almost about ready to go. And I had just written "Let It Hurt," and that song kind of came out of some stuff. You know, my mother-in-law passed away. You know, my wife was kind of having a hard time. I mean, we were both having a hard time, but, you know, it's different for her. That's her mom. And so I wrote that song. I wrote that song for her. And I played it for my buddy Randy. And with zero intention of putting it on this album, because it was still kind of rough. It was still kind of bare bones, whatever. And Randy had lost his wife. And, you know, they're both real good friends of ours. And I played it for him, and he kind of teared up a little bit, and he goes, "That needs to be on the album." And I was like, "Really? You think it's, you think it's good enough?" He goes, "It's more than good enough. It needs to be on the album. Put it on the album." I was like, "All right, I'm going to put it on the album just because you told me to, and because everything that you're going through, and everything that my wife's going through, it's going on the album. People need to hear it." And it came down. That one, I think that was a one taker.
Yeah, I think it was.
And it was that was the last song that we recorded. It wasn't going to be on the album, but thank you, Randy Hurst, for telling me to put it on the album. Then there it is.
That's a good song. It's good it's on there. It's cool you did that for your buddy. Yeah. Lonesome Is, that one's got the dobro.
Yep. That was... I don't think I'd touched a dobro in 6-7 years, and didn't want to do anything, you know, flashy, because I hadn't touched a dobro in 6 or 7 years. Just wanted some little accents in there, and it's one of those sad country songs. That's what I love about it. Is it's simple. Mm-hmm. It's simple. It's got a traditional kind of element to it, and anybody that's had their heart broken can relate to that song. Anybody. Same old story, written out of some personal experience. And there you have it. And the dobro was just kind of a, hey, I know somebody that has a dobro that I can borrow for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And came down and how it sounded. And it's funny because there was a run in there that just did not work. It did not sound good. And you did... you know, and this is why I love Kyle. I come down and he goes, well, we might have a little bit of a problem. I don't remember how you worded it, but it was like, yeah, we might have a little discrepancy here. It's like, oh, really? And then you played it for me, and I go, oh, wow, that was not good. And then you're like, well, I kind of played with it a little bit, and I kind of patched it up here and kind of, you know, smoothed it out a little, and just cut it. I was like, just cut it. It doesn't need to be in there. It's fine. Take it out. If it takes that much magic to make it sound good, it doesn't need to be on the album.
Yeah, if it was that first part, it's like that break in the first part, how it starts, the dobro's here, hi, dobro, and then it's gone again, then it comes back.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yep.
But it really works.
It does. It definitely works. And I got to say, too, man, it's, you know, I didn't want to do auto-tune. There's absolutely no auto-tune on this album. I'm not a fan of it. I don't want to use it live in the studio at all. And there wasn't really... I think there might have been like two riffs on the album. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there might have been like 2 riffs where the timing was like slightly not there. So we just kind of drug it over like a little bit, and you're like, oh, yep, there it is, cool.
Yeah, not much in the way of timing stuff, and I'll do some micro adjustments and stuff, but that's because I get into this stuff, man.
Yeah,
and
if
I got an ear for it, thank God for that. But mainly, the biggest thing was good cuts.
Yeah,
good cuts is it. Good songs, good cuts, and it all comes together. But yeah, Lonesome Is, man, I think you recorded the dobro with Jake out here.
Yep.
So that was,
yeah. Jake was sitting on the couch, and
I think Words of Wisdom solo too.
Yep.
Which that guy can write a song like that.
Oh my gosh, that's Jacob Reed. If you're listening to this, man, you are a lyrical wizard.
No, I hope to get him back in here at some point because he's good.
Yeah.
But Lonesome Ash, Rearview Mirror, awesome song. You said that was about like driving.
Yeah, so that's actually a really cool story, and I'm glad you brought that up. So, good buddy of mine, Mr. Johnny Holland, professional songwriter guy, really cool, awesome guy to work with. He had posted, he's from Alabama, and he's got a place up here. And he had posted on Facebook a picture of his rearview mirror on his truck. And it had the mountains in it, and, the sun, sunrise or whatever, and the sky's all orange. And he had to, I think somebody that he was close to had passed on, and he had to go back down to Alabama. And he posted this picture of his rearview mirror. He said, something, I got to go back down south, blah, blah, blah. But whenever you leave Montana, that mirror sure lets you know you're leaving. And I sent him a text. I was like, hey, man, can I steal that? Because there's a song in there. And he's absolutely, man, take it, run with it, do what you want to do with it. I said, cool, thanks. And that's where Rearview Mirror came from, because I could relate. I got family out of town, across the country, and stuff happens, life happens. You got to leave, you got to go take care of it. And as much as I enjoy seeing them and visiting and all that stuff, it does, man. Like, Montana's just that kind of a place that, like, I want to go, but I don't want to leave.
No, I like that one a lot for that. Chad, we'll talk about in a minute, but he likes that one a lot.
Oh yeah, I think that's Chad's favorite song.
Yeah,
too.
he. But I get it too, man. I've been kind of a nomad for a while, just with the career path, all that. But I don't know, it's so much the landscape, also where you put roots down and start having some kids, man.
Yep.
Makes it home for sure. So Six String Ride, I also just love because that's the next one on my track list here. We talked about the solo. I also like that one because it's like just jamming out. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I like the whole message because I can relate. Although for me, it's not a 6-string ride. It's like a 4-string bummer. Because you can't write anything cool on bass because it sucks as a solo instrument.
No, man. You've got some cool... This guy has got some insane bass arrangements. Like, I wasn't aware that you could sit and do that on a bass.
Thanks, but I think I've got exactly 5. And I think that's all that's possible. But that's just a good song. Love it. Mama's Boy. How did that song go over for you?
That's a good one. It's obviously a lot of moms request that song. Went over really well. My mom loved it. I sent her just a rough recording. I got a little recorder app on my phone, and I sent it to her, and she loved it. When we were recording it, I'm thinking like, man, it just needs something. It needs something that sets it apart from the other songs on the album. And so my good buddy, Chad Sigafus, who's the fiddle player for Longhorn, he also plays guitar. The dude, he's a wizard, man. He gives lessons. I don't know how many instruments he actually plays. He plays a lot, and he plays them all well. Man,
he's good.
He is good.
And he showed me that he made like a single himself too, and it's good.
Yeah,
he's good.
He's very good. He's actually writes a little bit too. He does some writing, and just the guy's insane. So I asked him, I was like, hey man, would you lay some fiddle down for me? And we were, I think it was I was playing a show, I think at Tings. Or no, it was him and Clint Reeder, Whiskey Ditch. They were playing at Tings. And I showed up and crashed their show, and they got me up for a couple. And I played Mama's Boy, and Chad played fiddle on it. It sounded fantastic. We'd never played it together before. And I was like, man, come into the studio, I'll pay you, and, whatever you want. And so, yeah, Chad came in, laid it down, and it's crazy because as good as that guy is, he will not be the guy to tell you that he's good. Like he is not. He does not think he is a fiddle player. Chad, you are a fiddle player. You are a beast. And I just think it was funny, man, because he was the guy that I think he was more meticulous about it than I was. You know, he come in, he laid down his fiddle track. Oh no, that's not right. Let me do this again. And he had rehearsed it. We sent him the track, and we're like, hey, you know, here, take this, rehearse over it if you want. He wrote a fiddle part for that song and rehearsed it for like 2 weeks. And then we brought him in. He laid it down. I thought it sounded fantastic. And then he's like, no, it's not right. Hey, can you give me another week? Yeah, sure, Chad. Take another week. Take as much time as you want, man. And but no, it's just the end product was fantastic, and my mom loved it. She's like, I love the fiddle on that song. Thank you for putting that in there. And but yeah, that one gets a lot of requests.
I think that was kind of the last song that we got like finished with, because I think the fiddle was the last part.
Yep.
And that's kind of the end of the recording process, but I was glad for what Chad did, and turned out good. I've listened to it a lot more lately than I used to listen to it, and it is sounding pretty stinking good.
And I just want to throw this out there for anybody that's going into an album project. Get your artwork done first. I know we talked about Brian and his wizardry and him just knocking it out, and he did a fantastic job. But that was the one thing I think if I could have had a plan for the artwork to begin with and gotten that done during the recording process, the album probably would have been released like 2 months earlier, at least. And that's nothing to do with Brian. Brian did a fantastic job, knocked it out of the park in record time. It was all me. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I was just like, well, I don't really have a budget, so we're going to go take some pictures of my guitar with a truck, and that'll be the cover, and here we go. And it all worked out. It looks great. It looks fantastic, but definitely have a plan for what you want to do with the artwork and get it done. Don't wait till the end, because that will hold you up massively.
Oh, we just published another project like 2 weeks ago. That's exactly the first thing I told them. I said, start thinking about your artwork first, because here's what it can happen.
Good man. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. You got to get that done.
And I don't do artwork. Maybe I could, but I'm going to try to focus on this stuff.
Yeah.
No, man, the whole album turned out awesome, I think.
I agree.
So what's next?
I've got about probably 6 or 7 songs that are they're done being written. I'm just getting them kind of polished. You know, I'm taking them out, I'm gigging them, playing them at shows, seeing what people think of them. And so far the reactions have been great. People are liking them. I'm just kind of looking forward to doing the next one. I think it's coming. It'll be soon, I think. And as long as we can keep the wives on board, and
I think they will this time.
I think they will. I think now that they know how we work, they know what our timetable kind of looks like when we do a session. So
yeah.
No, I've got one that I'm particularly excited about. It's called Hilltop Lullaby, and I just put that one on Facebook about a week or so ago. It's still pretty fresh. I gigged it down in Sheridan at Ruby Valley, and they loved it. So that one's going to be on there. There's at least a handful of songs ready to go. So about halfway there, I think.
6-string ride 2. There's your album name. No, I'm just kidding.
12-string ride. We'll pull that Martin off the wall and do a bunch of 12-string tracks.
Oh, it sounded good on the Born in the Barn.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of the interim track there, which also, I'll take it back. My grandmother, when that one came out, she goes, now that's her favorite one.
Yes. I love it, Grandma. I love it.
But, hey, thanks for doing this, man. Do you have anything else you were wanting to throw out there? Or?
No, I just thank you again, man, for making it happen, bringing me in, and definitely worked out in our favor that we live less than a mile from each other. Makes it a lot easier.
Meant to be, man. That's the way I see that one. And
for sure.
Hey, you get me back into music. Big deal for me. Bigger than you think.
I'm glad I could help.
Oh, man, I appreciate you doing this. Meet the Artist. We're trying to grow the Montana music scene.
Yeah.
Everybody likes stuff that's made in Montana. Here's one right here. This whole album.
Yep. The
Made
whole
here.
thing.
Written
Made
at
here.
Napa.
Yep. I mean, well, the artwork was done by a guy in Florida, but nobody's perfect, so it's fine. Yeah.
We're looking forward to making the next album. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, for sure.
Thanks, Lance. Lance Handyside, everybody.
Hey, Kyle Willis, everybody.
Yeah.
So later in the evening, standing under neon lights, get to turn it up and get to burn it up the night. Take a 6-string ride.